Here, I'm Michael Williams. I am one of the mentors with letsgetpaid.com. We are a real estate investor mentorship program. We teach people how to flip houses and how to do passive income through real estate. We've been training for about a little over 4 years.
4 years. Over
right?
4 years.
Five years in the business, full-time, 4 years. This is my lovely wife, Paige.
Hello, all.
And also members of our core team, Michael Anderson, who is one of our mentors, and also our closer, right? He is the guy that goes to the houses. Our strategy is we buy direct from homeowners, and in many times helping homeowners that are in some type of financial stress or having some type of life event that's causing them to be in a position that they may need to sell. Also, we have with us Lauren Weisler. Lauren is our investor success manager, kind of onboards new people into the program, and she also leads, so we've been training people for free for 4 years. We teach them actually by what we call inside the deal education. Our students become part of our business, and we don't even call them students, we call them investors, because they're investing their time. We don't ask them to put any money in, but they're investing their time, and they're part of our business, and it helps us scale our business. We're betaing at the end of this year and then at the beginning of next year for those people that really, really want to set a business on fire. We're starting up another education program called the Get Paid Accelerator, where we're going to really do tailored mentorship, and Lauren is leading that new program kickoff at the beginning of next year. If that's something you want to learn about, let us know. And we're not going to try to sell you anything today, but let us know and we'll tell you more about that. You can also find more about it on the webpage. So who else? Aziz. Thank you for coming. There's Chris. Who else we got? Oh, Fred. I was waiting on Fred. So we've been doing this for about 4 years. And like I said, the way the program is structured, we actually get people involved in our business, and we actually pay them. If we find deals together, we paid out probably at this point, over $450,000.
Quite a bit.
Something like that to the investors in our program. So although real estate is the product, right, what we like to say we teach is a path to freedom through building businesses. Now, a lot of people that get into real estate, they automatically think they're going to get rich and get checks in the mail by sitting on the beach, right? And unfortunately, if that's what you're looking for, unfortunately, I haven't solved that puzzle too much, and we can't teach you that. But if you would like to slowly, over time, start your own business and move to what we call a self-managed business, so you can multiply those businesses and start multiple businesses and start living off the returns on your investment, that's what we try to prepare people for, and that's what we try to teach. So that is the path to freedom. Real estate is the product, right? But what we're trying to teach is businesses that can build themselves. So if you want to generate generational wealth, right? If you want to leave a legacy for your family, or if you want to fire your boss and control your own schedule and control, is anybody interested in that? Anybody interested? Can I get a witness on a Sunday afternoon? That's really what we're focused on. And Paige and I have been on that path for several years now. We're not there yet. We learn something new every day.
Yeah.
We learn something from the investors in our program every day. But that's the path we're on, and I can say right now, over the past 4.5 years, right now we're getting about 7 streams of active and passive income that are coming in by establishing businesses, getting people involved with the business, and letting the businesses grow organically. And that's what we've been doing for the past 4.5 years. So although real estate is the product, really that path to freedom and being able to control your own life and maybe hand something down to your children, that's really, really what our goal is, not only for ourselves and for to teach. Now, the difference between me and some other paid trainer is I'm going to tell you this. We don't just have a bunch of cheerleading meetings where everybody gets in a cold hotel conference room and somebody preps you up with a bunch of PowerPoint charts. It's not who we are. And I can tell you right now, if you want to flip some houses and make some money, we're going to talk about that today, but you ain't going to get there sitting on a couch looking at your phone watching episodes of Flip Man on YouTube. I ain't going to call anybody out by name. Although I've watched some Flip Man myself. So that's a little bit about who we are, and as we go through here, we'll tell you more about that, more about us. So what we're going to do today is kind of go through the evolution of this house and where we are right now, which is we're under contract to sell this house, had bought it direct from owner. So we're going to take you through that journey. And in doing so, we're going to kind of give you some detail that you usually don't get with some of the other paid mentorship programs. We're very transparent. We get our investors involved in our deals, and we actually show you, hard, fast numbers, and you have understanding of, money that we make, money that we invest, and how we really work on a daily basis. So that's what I'm going to take you through if you'll give me about 30 or 45 minutes today. Okay?
All right.
So Michael, go ahead, tell us a little bit about your background before we start.
Yeah, so again, my name is Michael Anderson. I moved to Texas about 10 years ago. I worked for General Motors. I was a production supervisor at the plant here in Arlington, Texas. I also have an e-commerce business that I've been doing with a partner of mine, but I've always wanted to get into real estate. So when I first started in real estate, I started wholesaling. I made a little bit of money, but the money that I made was just enough to recoup the cost that I spent in marketing. So I was looking for a program or an avenue that I could actually invest in real estate the way that I had always wanted to. So I was actually building my buyer's list. I gave Michael a call. And Michael told me very sternly, I do not buy from wholesalers. I said, okay, well, what do you do? Because I want to know. So he told me about the Let's Get Paid program, and I was able to come in and take what they had, and I took it by the horns, and I just, massive action. Biggest word, massive action. And now, 2.5 years later, I am a full-time real estate investor within my second year. So that's my background. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for hearing me out.
Okay, go ahead. Tell them a little bit.
So my story is similar to Michael. I was in corporate America for about over 20 years. And like Michael said, I got so tired always worrying about my future. I don't know how many of you guys been there where you're always worrying, hey, am I going to let go? What's my financial security going to be? And that's where I was. I was 40-something, and I knew I was about to be let go. And then I went, well, I can continue this and get another job. But then when I'm 60 and I'm let go again, what am I going to do? Right? I'm going to be competing with a 30-year-old. With a 40-year-old, and I'm 60. I didn't want to see that for my future. So what I decided to do was start researching. How can I be my own boss? Because if I'm my own boss, no one's going to fire me. Right? That was my game plan. If I was my own boss and I was an entrepreneur, no one's going to fire me. And that's why I started looking into real estate. Now, Michael's going to tell you a story, if you guys know. I did kind of look into like a wedding planning dress shop, because I love fashion and that's what I wanted, or design. But then I went, what are the rich people doing, right? I don't want to work hard and be back at square one. So that's how I got into real estate, and that's where my real estate journey got me where we are here.
We end with Sean because Sean actually found this house as well. So we haven't got funding on this house. It ain't over until it's over. You'll see that chart here in a second. But we're going to kind of walk you through the journey of this house. So Sean knocked the door, asked the homeowner if they would be willing for us to come and help them with some problems they were having and if they might be interested in selling. So Sean was involved with this house. Is Cortez here? Cortez was involved with this house. Michael was involved with this house. Who else was involved? Devin helped identify a place for the homeowner to transition to. And
I appreciate it.
Yeah. We let the homeowner stay here for quite a while. And actually, what we help, I say it a lot of times, right? Although Paige and Michael know a lot about houses, really what we've generated is a lot of expertise around helping homeowners, where the problem is the foundation of the house. And so we actually helped the homeowner find a place to live. And did that free of cost, more or less, but we made money off of the house that they sold us. So we had 4 students involved with this. Sean knocked the door, and then Michael closed the deal, actually negotiated with the homeowner and helped the homeowner transition. So tell us a little bit about that, Michael.
Okay, so Sean knocked his door, was able to get me in the living room to speak with this homeowner. Now, she was going through a transition. Her husband had passed away, so she's in a 2-income household. Now it's a 1-income household. Her income could not keep up with the mortgage payment. She slid to some struggles that she could not get out. So we were able to sit there and talk with her and kind of see what she was trying to do from this point. Are you trying to save the house, or do you want a fresh start so we can help you with the transition into something that you can actually afford? So she leaned towards that. We were able to negotiate a fair price to put some money into her pocket. Got this house under contract. Now it was some work after the contract, but we were able to get through those steps to where we could finalize the deal and purchase this house and be where we are today.
Yep. So I'm going to walk you through some numbers right quick. So first of all, if you haven't seen it, here are pictures of the house before. And this was basically what we call a medium rehab. So I'll walk you through the rehab numbers. Paige and Michael have done some homes that we've spent over $120,000 on just to do the rehab. So this was kind of a medium rehab. And we actually, I'm not going to walk through the costs here, but we show you exactly how much we spent on labor. The rehab labor for this was $25,000 or so. The rehab material was about $7,300, and the total rehab was about $32,000 or so. And then we've got a materials list, and then we break down the labor for each component that it took. And Paige, walk us through your rehab strategy. We kind of have a rehab strategy that we do on each house.
So our rehab strategy is we always find a contractor that we know, that we trust, right? And that also does good quality. But it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just want to make sure that they're timely. The second thing we always do is what I always do to make sure is I look on the MLS, right? When I decide to rehab, I'm not going to do it perfect. What I do is I take a look and see what's on the market, and I rehab it to that standard. I don't try to do it overboard. I just try to do it enough that I can sell the house. I don't pay attention to all the little details or imperfection, because if you do that, every single thing you do is going to cost. And I don't rehab it for me to live in. That's the hardest thing, is when people rehab it, they rehab the house thinking that they're going to live in it. So they want everything perfect. When I rehab the house, I learn now to look at, hey, what's my competition doing, right? You always want to scope out the competition. What are they doing? And then I will focus on maybe something a little bit nice, that's a little bit nicer than some of the competition. But I don't try to go overboard on it. Otherwise, if you go overboard on it, you're going to wind up paying more on the rehab, and the buyer won't appreciate it like you appreciate it.
So that's kind of the rehab strategy that we have. So like I said, this was about a medium rehab. And right now, I think we've got most of the numbers in.
We got most of it
and
in.
These aren't estimates. The numbers that I have up here, the total rehab right now are the actual numbers that we've actually paid our contractor and paid for the material, $32,760. Now, here is a shot of the video that we were at. And I'm going to just flip this up here. And this was done in May. And I'm going to show you how good Michael and Paige are. The rehab estimate that we had here was $36,150, and that was before we did anything except for close it out. And so we came in about $350 lower. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, how long it took you?
I'm sorry?
How long?
How long did it take?
Less than a month. This was medium. There wasn't that much. There was, I think the major one was foundation problem. That's what took the longest, is just getting the foundation guy coming in.
Yeah. So you can't make it perfect. Find somebody you trust to work with. You're not rehabbing to live it in it. You're rehabbing it to make profit according to what the comps are. And then leave some back for your best buyer and focus on your best buyer. So any questions on that? That's how we rehab. We've done 90, almost 90 deals over the past 4.5 years. You closed 30 last year. How many this year? You're at
I
about
think total 36.
45?
36 last year. Yeah, we're about 46, 47.
So we write the contracts ourselves. We negotiate and buy directly from the homeowners. We sell the homes ourselves through the MLS. Michael, Paige, or myself, none of us have licenses. We're not real estate agents and we're not brokers. We do that when we teach our students how to do all of that without licenses. So we sell them ourselves. And the big takeaway here, kind of related to the, Kelvin's question of, hey, the backyard's messed up. It's kind of related to that. It's kind of antithetical. The highest price you get is not always the best offer, right? So Paige and I have spent over $130,000 on real estate education. And I'm going to talk you through on this next chart some things that we didn't learn sitting in a hotel conference room eating stale nachos, right? We learned by actually doing it, and there were actually some hard lessons. Now, the licensed people are going to already know these things, so you've got a head start. We actually had to learn these things through the School of Hard Knocks. So here are a few of the key things, right? For you wholesalers out there, anybody done any wholesaling? Anyone? Alex, I see one. Hi, what's your name? I'm sorry? Okay, nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. So we get multiple offers, and it's crazy what we get. Because we sell through the MLS, it's crazy what we get. So this house was not as bad. What was the last house that was so bad we had so many? Was it Water Oaks? Water Oaks was crazy.
Georgetown was another one.
Crazy. So I'm going to walk you through some of the things that we do when we get offers in, right? So the first thing we do, if in the buyer's blank it says somebody's name or as assigned, if the buyer's blank says or as assigned, we don't even look at the offer, we immediately throw it in the trash.
Really?
Yeah, we don't even look at the offer. So we don't buy from wholesalers, we only buy from people that have money to buy homes or that we know have guaranteed funding. So we get it all the time, right? Or as assigned, net worth.
Correct. We
New
don't
Western.
sell to wholesaler. Why do you want to get a contract when they're going to try to find a buyer? That's why we put on an MLS, right?
Yep.
We put on MLS so we can find a buyer.
Yeah, so we're in Dallas, right? Buyers aren't hard to find. Just put them on the MLS, you'll get all the ones you can find, right? Especially if you're giving it for a good price, you're going to get all the buyers you can find. So if we get a contract or as assigned, we really don't even look at it. If we get an offer and we know that the person hasn't actually been here and looked at the property, we know not to mess with it. So if they gave us a pretty high offer, we'll call or we'll find out, have you walked the property? Why have you not? If they haven't walked the property, they're most likely not serious and they're going to try to negotiate you down. So a lot of people will try to get you under contract with an option period and they're going to figure it out later. Do I really want the house? They're just trying to lock up the house. And so what we're trying to do is avoid those types of people that are buyers coming to us, right? So we weed them out up front. So cash offers are the best offers. Okay, cash offers are the best offers. And the reason why, if somebody has to get financing to buy the home, it's a risk that they're actually going to get financing. So there's a contingency there that you can't control. So we like cash buyers. Now in 2020 and 2021 and 2022, we didn't have to worry about it. It was all cash buyers. Okay, so I'm gonna hurt your wholesaler feelings again, right? If it's dependent upon hard money is not cash. Okay, has anybody heard the term hard money? Hard money is not cash. We're looking for cash buyers, people that can close immediately. People don't have to go out and get financing from a third party. And if you're going to get money from a hard money lender, it's the same thing for us as if you were going to a bank or going to the FHA to get a FHA-backed loan. Hard money is not cash. It is financing. You're dependent on a third party, and a lot of hard money deals, that we've tried to sell to didn't go through because the person thought they had a hard money lender that would support them and they didn't. Okay? So not all financing is created equal. Right? So like we talked about, a hard money lender is a lot of times not going to close. I know a lot of people on YouTube are saying you don't need money to do this. And we'll teach you some low cash down techniques. We have some strategies like that as well. But it is not easy to get hard money. They are usually going to look at the deal themselves. They're going to want to look at the house themselves. It's very, very difficult to get hard money and use hard money. It is our last resort to work with somebody that's going to be using hard money for financing. If you're using an FHA, a VA, or a Fannie Mae backed loan, they are going to be much more specific on the condition of the house. before they're going to provide you financing. Just because you got a house and you're a first-time home buyer and you qualify for an FHA or a VA loan does not mean you're going to get it. If that house has a bad roof, if that house has a bad foundation, they're not going to give you an FHA or a VA loan for it. And so when we look at offers coming in, we put FHA and VA lower down, to be honest, right? Because there's contingencies there and they're going to want more detailed inspections that may fail and the deal's going to fall through. So conventional loans, so cash, highest priority. Conventional loans from a big bank or a banking institution are second. And then we have sold to many FHA, VA buyers, but we know that we have to have a home that's going to pass for those qualifications for that condition of the home for that loan. And then something we really learned the hard way was the specific requirements that FHA loans have. You want to go ahead and do these two? Why don't you do
Right.
these
So for the realtors in the room, I'm sure you guys are aware of this, but for the rest, when you flip a house that and your buyer is an FHA buyer, there is a rule. It's called a 90-day flip. Therefore, if you listed the house 2 months into after you bought it and you rehab it and everything, you cannot accept an FHA buyer. You have to wait until that 90-day pass, then you can accept a contract. Now you can accept a conventional, but you just can't do FHA buyer. In addition to that, if it is an FHA buyer, be prepared to show them, the lender, the buyer's lender, your HUD settlement. This is something that we were not aware of. This is something that what we learned as part of the School of Hard Knocks. So you have to show them, or if you don't show them, then you just have to know that you're going to have to provide, they're going to have to do a second appraisal, and you as the seller will have to pay for that second appraisal or negotiate it with the lender to pay for it, but the buyer cannot pay for that second appraisal. But those are the rules that you gotta know when you do flip a house, and it just depends on the price point that you have to make sure you understand the rules so that way you know how to navigate that situation.
Yep, and the sensitivity to second appraisal is something that hits hard to us, right? Because the lender is only going to loan to the amount that the home is appraised at. And if the buyer can't bring cash to the table, then they're only going to pay you for the amount of financing they can get. And every time we had to get a second appraisal on a house, right, it didn't turn out to our benefit. And so what we try to do is eliminate being in that position that we have the requirement that there could be a second appraisal. Now, the one that Paige was talking about here, it's if you sold the house at twice what you bought it at. Now, doesn't that sound crazy? It only affects you if you sold it at twice of what you bought it at. Well, folks, I'm going to tell you right now, we buy houses that are in pretty bad shape with homeowners that are needing to liquidate and get out of the home fairly quickly. And then Paige and Michael we buy these houses and they make them beautiful and increase the market value a lot. So it is very frequent that we will buy a house at half of what we sell it for.
So what they're looking for is when you purchase the house, let's say you purchase it for $100,000, right? Then when you go and you resell it to an FHA buyer, the lender is going to ask you for the HUD settlement. Not the buyer, but the lender will ask you for that. If they look at the HUD settlement and they see that you purchased a house for $100,000, they're going to make you do a second appraisal. Regardless of how much you put into rehab it, you can buy the house for $100,000 and put in $60,000 to rehab it. They will still want that second appraisal. They don't take into account of the money that you brought to the table to pay for the rehab. So that's a little thing that you just have to understand. Once you understand it, then you know how to navigate around it.
Yeah, I mean, after we rehabbed a home for 6 months, it was on the market for 3 or 4 weeks, and then run into these things that we had to learn. It was tough the first year. learning these things real time. So not only do we look at the loan and where the loan's coming from, then we make them prove it, right? So show me your proof. We got to know that they have proof of funds, either the cash in the bank or that they're qualified for the loan and the lender has pre-approved them for loan qualifications. The ladies know this, right? So we don't look for, in the investor community, right, there are a lot of times you will have a trainer that will provide all of the students a proof of funding, right? Everybody in my program is proof to fund, and so you'll get proof of funds from some entity that is not related to the person that's putting the offer to you in no way, shape, or form. So in one of the houses that we had just recently, it was a local buyer that had proof of funds, some interesting entity in Puerto Rico, right? And not to say that you can't get funding from Puerto Rico, but we knew that, I'm not saying that that deal wouldn't have closed. We wanted to gravitate to a deal that was more likely to close. So when we get a proof of funding, what we're looking for is it a bank account that is showing money in the bank with the same name on the bank account that is on the contract that the offer was based upon. So that's the type of proof of funding we're looking for, is that it's the same person or the same entity that's buying is the one that actually has cash in the bank, right? Now, if it's not a cash deal, then we're looking for pre-qualified evidence from a lender, a reputable lender, that this person has been pre-qualified. And so a couple of things. There are a lot of times if we're selling a home as is, if you don't show page proof of fund, she won't even let you walk the house. Not only will she not accept an offer, right? We get so many investors or people trying to start, and good on them for starting, but they're doing it from the standpoint of not having enough knowledge to really get off on the wrong foot. And so we try to weed those people out. If we know that a person's not going to buy the house, we probably won't even let them come in and we won't show it to them, right? And then also, not only will we not accept just the pre-qualification letter, Paige will actually call the lender and talk them to them. Right? Actually talk to the lender.
I want my money.
Make sure that they've been working with the buyer for a while. Make sure that the buyer is truly pre-approved. Because we've had a couple of deals killed, right, where we waited 30 days for somebody to get a loan, and then they didn't get the loan at the last minute, right? And so proof of funds, we want to make sure not only is it a reputable lender, that they are going to be able to come up with the money when it comes time to closing. Any questions on that?
Yeah, if you get pre-qualified, does that really guarantee that you're going to
No.
get it?
No.
It doesn't, right?
It
Never
doesn't.
guaranteed.
That's why you make the phone call. That's why you make the phone call, to get some additional evidence. So more earnest money is better. Earnest money is when somebody is putting a contract, they also provide some earnest money to show that they are serious about it. And if they don't go through with the purchase of the home after the option period, if they back out, then you get to keep the earnest money. And in a normal case, kind of industry average is 1% of the sales price you have to put up front. So we always look for earnest money. If somebody provides us more earnest money than somebody else, then we're going to look more favorably at the offer that has more teeth in it. Option period. So an option period is when they put a contract on the house. There is a rule that you can give them some period of time to come in and do a detailed inspection. When we're selling a home as is and we haven't rehabbed it, a lot of times we will not even accept an offer that has an option period. We will ask people to go view the house before they submit a contract, and then we're looking for contracts that have 0 option days. 0 option days. But when you're selling on the retail market, it makes sense, and we give people an option period. And if they give us an option period that's greater than 7 days, we get a little bit suspicious, right? So we like 3 to 5
If
days.
you want to come in with like an inspector or somebody with them, is that allowed?
No, certainly,
Okay.
certainly. That's usually what's done in the option
Okay.
period. They go out, they hire a
Right.
professional inspector, and they come in, and going through the inspection process is a whole different negotiation strategy. So different than most real estate investors, we do everything from beginning to the end. We find people that may want to sell their home at a discount. From the start, we buy it ourselves with our money, we rehab it ourselves with our money, and we sell it ourselves. So that's different than most people that call themselves an investor in Dallas. They usually only do one piece of the puzzle, right? So we do it from beginning to end, And we've sold a lot of homes as is over the past year to other investors because they don't do the deal finding. And if they want to make income, right, they're at a point that they're still making income to live off from their houses, they still got to have houses to buy. And so we're still finding good ways to buy homes at a discount and then sell them to other investors. And especially if you're dealing with a buy and hold investor, they're willing to pay more. And so we're still selling and getting multiple offers on homes sold as is. So this house, we had 2 offers. We had one offer for $283,000 and another offer for $278,000. Now, if you're looking at deals on PropStream and you think that's what's providing your comps and you would have done that here, you would have missed out, right? Because sometimes PropStream is not good about showing the seller considerations that are asked for when a buyer wants it. So the difficulty with FHA deals a lot of times is the homeowner, although they're getting a good interest rate and getting a good loan, it's difficult for them to come up with the 15 to 20% down payment. So a lot of times what they're doing is they're giving you a higher price, but they're asking you, the buyer, to come to the table with cash that you're going to give them, and it's a little bit of a switcheroo in the HUD settlement statement. They're giving you a higher overall price for the home, but they're asking you for seller's contribution, so you can help them at the closing table afford their down payment. So this offer was at $283 with $7,000 seller contribution. This offer was at $278, and it was with $5,000 seller's contribution. So although this offer was higher, this contribution was, although this offer was higher, they were asking for more in seller's contributions. So how did we negotiate this?
So to get back to what Michael says here about beware of, the buyer's agent that's easy to work with. So in both cases, I looked at this. This person, I look at showing.com and I realize they never walked the property. This agent sent me an offer that he completely did the contract wrong. He put $0 for option period, but yet he wanted 7 days option. And he put about $2,000 or $200 for earnest. So what happened was he just put the information in the wrong place. So what does that tell you when you get a contract like that?
He knew.
He's new. Exactly.
He's brand new.
He's new, right? And of course, I'm always going to prefer conventional. So I'm going to sit there and I see if I can negotiate this down. So I said, well, I have other offers I'm looking at. I was like, would you consider, not providing a seller contribution of $5,000? Would your seller consider removing that? And he was like, no. And so I went, okay, well, let me think about it. So I went back to this guy, and actually he offered less. The original offer was, I think, $282.
Yep.
So I came back to him, and I was talking to the agent. He's really easygoing. I was like, well, tell me a little bit about your buyer. So he told me that he had been working with his buyer for a long time. About 6 months ago, oh yeah, be careful of staging. I don't nail those things down right. No problem. No
damage.
Well, anyway, so I got a little bit more detail. Of course, when the guy tried to buy way back, it was very competitive. So he is looking for a house now, and he saw this, and he walked it, and he liked it. And I was like, well, would your buyer consider $5,000 concession versus $7,000 concession? And so he goes, well, let me talk to my buyer. So they came back, and they looked at the house again. They walked the property again, and they really love it. So the agent called me up and said, well, can we go up? He really does need that $7,000 for closing, so can we offer $283? So we kind of met in the middle.
Yep, we were trying to get the option, the seller's contribution down, but they didn't have any options, right? They couldn't make their down payment without it, so they just went up in price, okay? And we were quibbling.
And that's normal. That's very
normal. And we
normal.
usually don't quibble over $1K, $2K, $3K here or there, depending on the house and the situation. So the big components of offer that you're looking at are the agent you're working with, the down payment. Now the down payment really doesn't matter to you, but the down payment, if it's higher, it gives you more confidence that they're going to close and that they're going to have the money to actually do the deal. So the down payment, how quickly are they going to close? Do they need 50 days to get financing, or can they get financing within 3 weeks, right? The option period, which is the period they're asking for to actually do the inspection, we don't like anything more than 7 days. That's the other thing. How much money do you pay? Now, if you want the ability to have an option and do an inspection, you have to pay for that right. And so if they're giving some amount of option period and one contract is bigger than the other, usually it's only $150 to $400, so that's usually not a big swinger. The financing agency, is it conventional? Is it FHA? Are they getting a hard money lender? The seller's contribution, are they asking us to bring more money to the table, which effectively brings your offer or your contract price down. And then lastly, that's it. And so lastly, we always have them close with our title company. If somebody wants to pitch a fit and go with theirs, it's something we'll consider when we're comparing offers. So this one actually was originally at $282. They went up $283 because we were trying to negotiate the $7,000 down. And this is the actual first page of the contract that they gave us with the sales price, their down payment, and how much they're going to finance. So this is actually the contract that we took. And so we're under contract. So you had this on the market for 6 days?
About 6 days.
25, 23, over 20 showings.
Oh yeah, we got quite a bit of showing over the weekends.
Yeah, over 20 showings. Had 2 offers. I'll call this a legitimate offer. That's by far our best offer.
Have you had clients who they don't have representation and buy it from you directly? No.
No.
Yeah.
And the reason why is that you realtors will learn this, or some have probably experienced it. When they call and there's like, hey, I don't have representation, right? But I really love the house and I want to see it. What do I ask? Can you show me your proof of funds?
Proof of funds.
No problem. I would love to show you the house. Can you show me your proof of funds? And if they don't show me their proof of funds, I'm not going to drive out to show a property. Now, if they show me a proof of fund and they're not qualified for the price that I'm asking, I'm not going to go out and show them the property.
Because there are a lot of people that just want to come and look at a rehabbed house.
That's true.
Right?
So here's why I like MOS. I love working with agent on MOS because the agent does all the work, right? You're showing houses to the buyers. I'm not having to meet with them. And when I get a buyer who say, hey, I don't have representation, for me, that's a flag, right? That means, have you qualified yet? And most of the time, they're like, qualified? What do you mean? I just want to buy a house. I was like, are you working with a REI agent? Oh, yeah, I was, but then she stopped calling me back.
You didn't qualify.
Wonder why?
I wonder why. I was like, well, what's your income?
Yep.
$50,000. I was like, now that's why they're not calling you back. I was like, I'm sorry, So that's why I put it, and we listen on MOS because we like the agents, because that way we don't have to go out there and show the property.
Yeah. So under contract right now, a net offer price $283 minus the $7,000. So we're basically at an effective $276. We're estimating our closing costs. This may be a little bit low, between $2,800 and $3,200, somewhere around there. Buyer agent fee at 3% will be about $8,000 or so. So we're looking at a cash proceeds of $264. All the acquisition costs that we did, including paying off the homeowner's loan, putting some cash in their pocket. They had a city lien based on some work that the city did to get the home up to code at one point. It was $24,500 that had to be paid off at closing. And then closing costs, these are actual closing costs that we paid $1,800. So we were all in at $105,900 just to buy the house. We rehabbed it for $32,760. These are the actual costs for insurance, utilities, paying some yard work that we did do. Cortez mowed the yard a couple of times, so we had about $2,500 worth of costing. We had listing fee and staging fees that we did, and so with all the cash proceeds minus all the costs, right now we're going to make probably over $115, $120 on this house, somewhere around there. Now it's important to say this is under contract. We think we've got a decent buyer. not really, really strong. They're having trouble with the down payment, but we think we'll qualify for their loan. So it ain't over till it's over, right? Because we've had deals fall through, and we want to set your, not lie to you. This is not a done deal.
Right.
We'll make over 115 off this house. So wow, that was long. That's an anatomy of a deal. Okay, anything else you can think? So a couple of events we've got coming up in the near future. So not this Thursday, but next Thursday on the 31st, Let's Get Paid Live. Michael in the mix going to be talking about how to do subject to.
That's going to be good.
How to negotiate properties and use homeowners loans. And we're also going to go through our deal portfolio, and we're going to invite people, if they have deals that they want to bring, we will analyze deals real time and tell you what we think the offer price should be and what the profit is. And we're actually probably going to try to do a couple of live deals where we're going to go to homeowners and negotiate with them, or at least try to get appointments. We're going to do that live during the meeting. So that's next Thursday. And then we're doing kind of our first live stream event on September 30th. It's a month away. And we're calling it the Path to Freedom, where we're going to talk about really our investing strategy and how we try to make money flipping houses really, really fast, but build businesses that can start to be self-managed and develop, differential streams of income. So we're doing that. That's going to be like a 6-hour webinar. It's the first time we've ever done it, and that will be on the 30th of September. So you can find both of those events on our website. Let's Get Paid Live page.